Hello folks, my name is Josh Taylor and I'd like to welcome you to the 12th Annual Telling Tales Festival and our first ever virtual gathering. Whether you are a veteran fan who has been to the festival or whether this is your very first time joining us, we are so happy to see how stories connect us, no matter how far apart we live. Speaking of where we live, the Telling Tales Festival happens in a place where people have lived and told stories for thousands of years. It is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and the Neutral peoples. Today, it is home to the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Six Nations of the Grand River, and to many other Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. We recognize our responsibility to learn about their rich history so that we can better understand our roles as caretakers, neighbors, and friends. With a good heart and mind, we honor the sacred Indigenous tradition of storytelling by presenting our program today. Miigwech, Nyawe, and thank you. Hi everyone! This episode is a storytelling picnic, so get ready for a picnic adventure. We will sing songs, do crafts, and tell stories, all about having nice lunches together outdoors with our friends. Keep an eye out for our friendly rabbit, who will hop through one of the picnic locations we are going to show you later on. Spot the rabbit, and then head to the Telling Tales website contest page and tell us where the rabbit was. You might win a book from one of today's authors. Now, our friend Deborah is going to tell us about a kid named Mo, who is exactly the opposite of a rabbit in her story, Slow Mo. Deborah Kerbel writes stories about family and friends and exploring the world around us. Her book, Slow Mo, is about a little girl with a brother who is as slow as a snail. How can we be patient with our family, even when it's sometimes hard? Join us to find out.
Hi everyone, my name is Deborah. This is my dog, Freddie. Welcome to our storytelling picnic. We brought lots of great books and stories to share with you today. The one in particular that we really want to talk about is this one. It's called Slow Mo, and it's a book about a little girl. Can you see her? She has a really big problem, and her problem is that she has a snail for a little brother. Yes, an actual snail. That's him. And his name is Mo. And he moves so slow, it drives her bananas. She thinks he's so annoying. Do any of you have a little brother or a sister or even a pet that sometimes gets really annoying? Yeah? I thought so. Well, then this is the perfect book to share at our storytelling picnic. So you're probably wondering, why on earth is Mo so slow? How slow could he possibly be? Well, his mother says he likes to dilly-dally. Do you know what that means? It means he takes his time. And his grandmother calls him a lollygagger. That's a funny word. Do you know what that means? It means he moves super duper slow all the time. And Mo's dad says a sleepy turtle could run circles around him. Wow, that's really slow. And what about his sister? What does she think about him, aside from the fact that he's annoying? She thinks aliens must have brought him, because how else could she have a snail or a little brother? So when Mo eats his cereal, oh my goodness, at breakfast, he's so annoying. He takes forever. Just as he's starting, his family's already almost finished, and you want to know why? Because he eats his cereal 1-0 at a forever. That's not how Freddie likes to eat his cereal. Freddie, do you want some cereal? He sure does. There you go. See? Freddie likes to eat his cereal really fast. But Freddie's a dog, and as dogs are napping, they like to move pretty quickly. Can you think of other animals that like to move pretty fast? I can think of a few. How about a cheetah? Or a zebra? Or even a kangaroo? Kangaroos not only like to move fast, they like to jump really high. How about animals that like to move slow? Animals that aren't snails. Can you think of those? I can think of a sloth, or a starfish, or a caterpillar. They like to creep along really slow, or even a koala bear. All those animals are really, really slow. But people are different than animals. Sometimes we like to move fast, other times we like to go slow. So how about you? How do you like to eat your cereal? Slow, like Mo? Or fast, like Fred? How about walking to school? Do you like to run really, really fast and get there and be the very first one? Or do you like to take your time and smell the flowers, just like Mo? Is one better, fast or slow? Maybe they're both okay, depending on what it is you're doing. Sometimes speed is what we need, right? When we're playing tag or riding a bike or running a race. But there are other moments where it's really fine to take your time, like when you're eating your dinner or reading a book or coloring a picture. So how come Mo is so slow? I'm going to tell you a secret. He's not always so slow, and he's not always a snail. There's a moment in the book where you'll see Mo likes to move fast. I can't tell you when that is because I want you to discover it for yourself, but I'm going to tell you a secret. He moves fast when he's doing the same things you probably like to do when you're moving fast. Here's one other secret. When he moves fast, his sister doesn't find him so annoying anymore. So that's a little bit about slow-mo. I hope that you will check out the book and enjoy reading about Mo and his sister. And I want to thank you so much for joining me and Fred on our storytelling picnic. It's so great to share stories and books and food, cereal, outside on beautiful days like today. Thanks and see you soon.
Is Mo really a snail? We'll have to allow some extra time for him when we go on our picnic. Slow-mo, I just got it. It's good. Up next, my friend Christopher has a hilarious song for us about different kinds of food at a picnic.
I'm my friend Christopher, and here's a song about who we eat. It's disappointing to be eaten if you're little. It's disappointing to be eaten if you're big. You'd rather not have it done, 'cause it doesn't look like fun. You'll lose your friends, you won't recover. It's the end. It's disappointing to be eaten if you're swimming. It's disappointing if you're just standing there. 'Cause even if they do it kind, or it's a surprise from behind, your poor mother won't recover, your father loses hair. It's disappointing to be eaten if you're a hot dog. There used to be a muscle in a pig. Used to do a whole bunch, now you're the lazy parent's lunch. Being eaten is the worst thing that there is. But you don't need to starve if you decide not to eat chicken, steak, or oysters.
Ew!
What, you think oysters are gross? How do you think they feel about the inside of your mouth? It's not so bad being eaten if you're juicy. It's not so bad being eaten if you're plump. 'Cause you grew on a tree and you're filled with living seeds. and want to take a ride on the poop slide. And when the journey is through, they're happy that they've been through you, 'cause you gave them what it takes to be a fruit tree.
That is really good advice, Christopher. Up next, Andrew Larsen is going to tell us a story about a boy who is sure he does not like stories. Andrew Larsen loves stories. He has written stories for his family since he was 6 years old, and now he writes them for all of us.
Oh, hi there. Hi there, Telling Tales friends. I'm Andrew Larsen, and it's nice to see you. Would you like to join me? I'm having a picnic, but I'm doing something else. While I'm having a picnic, I'm writing on my typewriter. I'm writing a story about a picnic. See, I love picnics. I love to be outside. I mean, you can have a picnic inside, but I prefer my picnics outside. I like to find a special place, like this place, which is very close to home. And I like to bring everything that I'll need, like my picnic blanket, my apple, and my typewriter. Another thing I like about picnics is that picnics are the perfect place for stories. And, you guessed it, I love stories. I love to write them like I'm doing now, and I love to share them. Today, I'd like to share a story about my new book. My new book is called I Do Not Like Stories. Now you might be thinking, well, hey, wait a minute. You just said you love stories. Why would you make a book called I Do Not Like Stories? Well, let me tell you a story. You see, one day I went to visit my son's old kindergarten classroom. My son isn't in kindergarten anymore, but every year I go back to visit his classroom, visit with his old teacher, read some stories to the students, and talk about stories. So I went to his old kindergarten classroom. I sat in the storytime chair, and there were children gathered all around me, and they were being very quiet, and they were being very patient. And I started my presentation by saying, I love stories, because that's how I start many of my presentations. And when I said that, there was a boy sitting by my knee. And when I said, I love stories, the boy said, I do not like stories. I do not like stories at all. And I thought to myself, what kind of a kid doesn't like stories? And right there, and right then, I thought to myself, I am going to write a story about a boy who does not like stories. And I told the class about my idea. And I told the boy who told me he did not like stories, I told him that he had inspired me. And I asked him if he minded if I wrote a story about a boy who doesn't like stories. Guess what he said? I don't care. So I went home that day and I sat at my typewriter, and it was the same typewriter. I didn't sit outside though. I sat inside and I started to write a story about a boy who thinks that he does not like stories. About anything. Well, almost anything. One of the things that I love about this book, and I love a lot of things about this book, but one of the things that I love about this book is the way that the story grew. And in addition to the boy, a cat appeared in the story. And the boy definitely loves his cat, and the cat definitely loves his boy. And I think you'll love the story. So after I wrote the story, I showed it to my friend Carrie Sakoshev. And she read it, and she said, I know exactly how this story ought to look. And she began to draw very simply, very quietly. And this is what she drew. She drew a picture of the boy. And when I saw it, I knew that is exactly how the boy ought to look. And then she drew a picture of the cat. And this is what the cat looks like. And when I saw it, I said to myself, that is exactly how the cat ought to look. And now, this is how the book looks. And I hope you'll go to your local bookstore or your local library, and I hope that you'll check it out. But before I go, I'd like to ask you a question. What kind of stories do you like? Do you like funny stories? Do you like scary stories? Do you like stories with pets in them? Do you like stories with cars in them? I think I'm going to get back to my story because I love picnics. Thank you for joining me.
Maybe you can let us know what kind of stories you like stories about different places. So, right now, we're going to go on a tour of some of the most awesome picnic places around Canada. Have you been to any of the places we just visited? Did you spot the rabbit? Remember to put your answer on the Telling Tales website contest page. Do you have a stubborn baby sibling? If you do, I think you might just relate to our next story. Sarabeth Holden grew up moving around a lot. She lived in Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Nunavut. That's a lot of change. In her newest book, a toddler is also having a change, a diaper change, and isn't too sure how to feel about it.
Hi, I'm Sarabeth. Please Don't Change My Diaper was inspired by my son Raymond. From a very young age, Raymond made it very clear that he did not like getting his diaper changed. He would cry, he would kick, he would yell. Meanwhile, I would tell stories and sing songs that I would make up trying to bring him comfort. At the end of it, what really gave him comfort was when I gave him a hug and he realized that the world was still turning, the sun was still shining so bright, and his puppy was there waggling his tail because puppy was also concerned whenever he was wailing. Over the last few months, as we've been sheltering in place, we've all had these moments where we thought that the world was falling apart. It was crumbling to the ground. Whether it was watching the news or having a curbside cry because we didn't understand why we couldn't go to the playground or go and play with our friends. Please Don't Change My Diaper is a story that can inspire you to share a conversation with a loved one and tell them what's been bothering you and what makes you feel like the world is falling apart. At the end of the day, the important thing is that we can share a hug with a loved one and know that the world will still be turning, the sun will still rise again tomorrow. So, over the next few months, because we don't know what the world is going to look like, and chances are there are going to be a few more opportunities for us to think that the world is falling apart, remember to share those things and give someone a hug. And you can listen to other people and why they think the world is falling apart and give them a hug because it'll make them feel better. I hope that you enjoy Please Don't Change My Diaper as much as I enjoy writing it, and now I enjoy reading it to my kids. Thank you so much. Play on the make.
It's a good thing he changed his mind. It could have turned into a smelly situation. Sorry, that joke stunk. Now, when I go on a picnic, I like to make things from the stuff I find, like dandelions and leaves. Let's visit Simon Frank. He has some ideas on how to do this too.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, my name's Simon Frank, and I'm a Hamilton-based visual artist. And I'm just going to talk with you a few minutes here about a very special plant and a material that I use to make art. So the plant that I want to talk with you about today is the burdock plant. And you might have heard of the burdock plant because the plant produces these seed heads that we call burrs. And you probably know about burrs because you've had them stick to your clothes or to your dog's fur. There's one story about burrs where a person had it stick to their clothing and they wondered, well, how did it stick? And they asked a great question, and instead of just not trying to answer it, they actually took the burr and they looked at it under a magnifying glass and they saw that it has hundreds and hundreds of little hooks. And that inspired them to make something that you guys all know called Velcro. You probably have it on your shoes or you've seen it to attach things. And Velcro is just made of little hooks. And the person copied burrs, which I think is a cool story. I don't know if you've ever heard of the story of the Burr Man, but long time ago, someone was walking through the woods and they ran through some burrs, some plants like this, and the burrs started sticking to their clothes. And they got a little scared because sometimes when plants grab at us, it kind of scares us. Even though burrs are beautiful and amazing, they can scare you. So he started running, and the more he ran, the more burrs stuck to his clothing. Eventually, he ran through so many burr plants that he was covered from head to toe in burrs. And he ran out of the forest, and he wasn't trying to scare anybody, but he started walking home, and people called him the Burr Man. That thing that happened, that story, became part of a festival in Scotland, and which is where I was born. And when I started making art 25 years ago, burrs was the first material that I chose to use, mostly because I found them really interesting, and I thought that, well, I wondered how did they stick, and I thought, hey, wouldn't that be cool to use burrs to make sculptures or objects? So I started picking burrs and exploring or trying to discover what I could do with them. And of course, again, they stick to things, like my shirt. First, I would just gather up the burrs, like you guys can do. And I just pick them gently, because I don't want to harm the plant. And then I found that they would stick together. So some of the first things that I made with burrs were just bigger burrs. I would make these big burr balls. I even stuck them on the side of an art gallery once here in Hamilton, the Art Gallery of Hamilton. And I called the artwork The Gallery That Went for a Walk in the Woods. So I like to make different shapes with burrs. I've made different geometric shapes like spheres and cubes. And I also make burr figures or burr people. I once even covered myself in burrs. I don't recommend that though. So if you're out in the woods and you see some burrs, you could maybe ask a parent or an adult, and if you could try making something with them. It's a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
This is my burr sculpture, my burr baby, if you will. Why don't you try making one and post a picture to the Telling Tales Creativity Club. Now, we are going to hear some more about the country we live in with Paul sticking to me. He drew all of the pictures in his book, Canada Fun. Paul Covello creates beautiful books that help us learn about the world around. His books feature warm and friendly drawings, and many of his books help us learn just how wonderful animals are.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Covello, and I'm the author and illustrator of books like Canada ABC and Canada 123. Today I'm here to talk to you about my brand new book. It's called Canada Fun. This book's going to explore all of the different events and activities that you can do here in Canada. So today I thought I would draw some of my very favorite things from the book. So the first picture that we have here, it's a girl, and we can see that she's on some ice here. Kind of looks like she's skating, so let's add some skates there. And if she's skating and she's wearing a helmet, and just looks like she's wearing sort of big gloves and big uniform, so she's probably playing hockey. So why don't we draw her holding, of course, if you're playing hockey, you need a hockey stick. You also play hockey, you need a hockey puck. She's playing for Team Canada, which would mean on her jersey we're going to draw big red maple leaf. And there we have our hockey player going down the ice with the puck. We have here two children, and we can see that they're kind of, snowflakes around, so it's probably winter, and they're on like a hill here, so kind of think that they might be tobogganing. And to go tobogganing, you're sliding down a hill covered in snow. You need, of course, a sled or a toboggan. And there is the sled. We want to make sure that they're going really fast down this hill, because they seem to look like they're having a lot of fun, and can draw some snow that's being kicked up by their sled as they go down. Make sure that the driver of the sled is steering with this string there. He's holding onto it with his mittens. And this is sledding or tobogganing. Here we have a boy and a girl and a dog. And we can't see the bottom of them, just the tops. But they seem to be looking at a fish in the water, and there's a loon here in the water. And it kind of looks like they should be holding something, probably in a canoe. And if you are sitting in a canoe, you probably have with you also a paddle, so you can steer in the water. Make sure the canoe's going the right way. And there we have it, our boy and a girl, a dog, and a canoe together. And here we have a boy. You can see there's some snow at the top here and some snow underneath his boots, and he's wearing a nice red toque and a red flannel sweater. And there's a great big tree here and some trees in the background. He's kind of holding a bottle of something, and looks like he should be holding something in his hand too. So I'm going to draw something here on the tree. We're going to draw a tap coming out of the tree, and hanging onto the tap is a bucket. And so if you have a sort of a tree with a tap on it, and whatever's coming out of the tap is being collected into the bucket, we can assume that this is a maple tree. And what's coming out is sap that then we can use to make maple syrup. So this is what the boy here is holding. He's holding some maple syrup. So I'm going to color that in. Maybe put a tiny little maple leaf down there and make sure it's maple syrup. And also sometimes if you go in Canada someplace where they're making maple syrup, they will spread the maple syrup on some snow, and you can get a wrapped up little piece of maple candy almost. And so collecting maple syrup and making maple syrup is a very Canadian activity that you can do here in Canada. Places like Quebec especially are very famous for that. And here we have a boat and some people on the boat, and in the background we have a lighthouse, and usually lighthouses you see in the east coast of Canada, so we can kind of assume that this is someplace around there. And these people are on a boat and they're watching something. You can see in the water these great big animals coming out, jumping out of the water. And I know you've already guessed what this is. It's a whale. And these people on the boat are whale watching. This is a really fun activity that you can do in Canada. There's many different types of whales that live in the waters around Canada. And here we have it. These people, of course, are on a whale watching tour, and they're sort of watching this big whale splash out of the water. And lastly, we have this boy and this girl here, and they're very happy. And kind of just wearing white outfits right now, so why don't we give them some color. I'm going to use red crayon, and red and white are very Canadian colors, of course. We'll draw a little maple leaf on her hat, and maybe this girl has red shorts, and let's get the boy red shorts too, and the girl can have red shoes. And so of course they're very happy, and they're celebrating something, and they're wearing red and white maple leaves on their shirts, so they might be celebrating Canada Day. Canada Day is the day that we celebrate the birthday of Canada. So on Canada Day, you wear red and white, you dress up with maple leaves, but you might also have Canadian flag. And one of the other things that I like to do on Canada Day is have some fireworks. If this is Canada Day at night, maybe we might see some big red fireworks in the sky. And there we have it, celebrating Canada Day. Very, very Canadian activity. To see even more fun things that you can do here in Canada, be sure to check out my book, Canada Fun. Happy reading.
Paul is a very talented artist, isn't he? Can you try to draw some of the animals he talked about? Post your drawings in the Creativity Club. Wait, do you hear that? What's that sound? Is it music? I think I hear the Teddy Bear Picnic song. That must mean Vikki is here to tell us about the Teddy Bear of the Year. In her newest book, Teddy Bear of the Year, a young bear learns how important it is to be kind.
Hello and welcome to our Telling Tales Festival Storytelling Picnic. My name is Vikki VanSickle and I'm the author of Teddy Bear of the Year. This is my second picture book. I'm so excited to share it with you. I'm sorry we couldn't be there in person, but the rain stopped today, so I'm happy to be out on my back patio and sharing this book with you today. So this is a story about Ollie. He's right there in the center. And Ollie is a teddy bear who loves his job, and he gets invited to his very first teddy bear's picnic, and there they get to do all sorts of fun things. But my favorite thing is the snack table. I'm going to show you that snack table right there. Doesn't that look like fun? So at the Teddy Bear Picnic, there are snacks, there are games, and there's also the Teddy Bear Service Awards, in which the creatures, not all of them are bears, some of them are teddy rabbits, for example, they get rewards for doing nice things for their children. So I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends today, because for me, when I go on a picnic, food is very important, but I also like to bring friends with me. So today I have 3 of my special teddies. The first is Sprinkles, and Sprinkles was my latest teddy added to my collection. He was a gift from a friend who noticed that Sprinkles looked a little bit like a bear on the cover. I'll put that there so you can see. But if you take a close look, this bear here looks a lot like Sprinkles, except in a party hat. Or maybe it's a picnic hat, I'm not sure. So Sprinkles is someone I think needs to come with me on my picnic adventures. Next, I have Bunny. Now, Bunny was mine from when I was very little, so Bunny is quite old. And as you can see, Bunny is a little bit fancy. He likes to dress up. And maybe when you go on a picnic, you like to dress up a little bit. So Bunny is, as you can see, not a bear, so he's a teddy rabbit. And in fact, in Teddy Bear of the Year, there's a teddy rabbit in the book named Fang who was inspired by my childhood stuffed animal of Bunny. Now, the last friend I want to introduce you to is Canuck. So as you can see, Canuck is also not a teddy bear. He is a teddy moose. That's correct. Now, I got Canuck a while ago when I used to work at a camp, and this camp was in the United States, and I was far from home. So I wanted something to remind me of Canada. And as you may know, moose are often associated with Canada. Now, the other thing you should know about Canuck is he's very cuddly. He's an excellent hugger. So if he was going to win an award at the Service Awards, I think he might get something for Best Cuddler. So that's Canuck. Oh, we've got Sprinkles and then Bunny. So those are 3 of my stuffed animals, and I'm happy to introduce them to you. Now, I'm not going to read the story to you today, but I did want to show you my 2 favorite pictures from the book. The art was by Sydney Hansen, and I think she did a wonderful job. And as you know, the Teddy Bear's Picnic is sort of a magical event. And a beautiful silver sailboat, there it is, arrives to pick up Ollie. But that's not my favorite spread. My favorite spread is this one. Isn't that beautiful? Wouldn't you love to float through the air in a silver sailboat to the Teddy Bear's Picnic? So there's the bandstand, and what I like about that is if you look closely, you can see there's ears on the bandstand. Bandstand, bear stand. That's how you know that you're going to the Teddy Bear's Picnic and not maybe a picnic for humans or a picnic for tigers. So that's one of my favorite illustrations. And the other one, I showed you a little sneak peek. This is when they arrive at the picnic. And I love this because one of my favorite things about picture books is looking at the art. And you can look at the art over and over again and you can see new things every time. So if you look really closely, you might see a bear in a pink shirt with yellow spots. You might see a cowboy bear. You might see a fairy bear or a bear with wings. And if you look really closely, you might see a famous bear in the middle there stealing a tart. Do you recognize that bear? I think that bear looks like Winnie the Pooh. Maybe that's just me. So those are my favorite spreads from my book, Teddy Bear of the Year. Thank you so much for having me at your picnic. I hope you have something delicious to eat. I hope you have a friend with you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the authors and the rest of the Telling Tales Festival. Again, my name is Vikki VanSickle. I am the author of Teddy Bear of the Year. You are on my back patio right now, and enjoy the rest of the Telling Tales Festival. Bye, everyone.
Did you even know your Teddy Bear's Picnic is an annual event? Huh, now you do. And it sure was fun going on the picnic with you today. Don't forget to tell us where you think the rabbit was by going to the Telling Tales website contest page. You might win a book from one of today's presenters. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us, and remember to visit our website for more events and to upload your artwork, your writing, your videos, and your ideas to the Telling Tales Creativity Club. Telling Tales is all about the joy of discovering how stories connect us. Tell us what you thought of this episode by filling out the survey on the Telling Tales website, and you could win a book from one of today's authors. See you again.